dristum jwalantam sarvatomukam nrsingham bhisanam bhadram murtyung namamyam. After the discovery of the nucleus from the scattering of alpha particles, Rutherford now proposed a model of atom basing on this nucleus, and that is called the nuclear model of atom. Now according to Rutherford, now whole atom will be considered as two compartments. One is the nucleus, in which the mass of the atom is concentrated. Hence all the protons are placed at one place of the atom, and it is a positively charged massive body, and he named it the nucleus. The reason because all the three observations made by him in the scattering of alpha particles are because of this smallest possible mass present inside the atom called nucleus. And another part is the extranuclear part. Two parts are there in the atom. One is called the nuclear part and the extranuclear part. And now the proton is configured, and electrons are extranuclear particles. The two type of particles, one are the proton and electron. So the protons are the nuclear particles. The protons are nuclear particles and the electrons are extranuclear particles. Now we'll come to the composition of the nucleus. Composition of nucleus and the atom. So what he proposed? He proposed that the atom consists of two parts. One is the nuclear part. This is the nuclear part which is positively charged. So this is the nucleus. One is the nucleus, the nuclear part, and what is there? And there is a large hollow space all around the atom, and which is the extranuclear part. There is a large hollow space inside the atom. There is the hollow space inside the atom, which is the extranuclear part. Then comparison to the, if he compare this hollow space with the atom, the nucleus, he says what? The nucleus consists of the protons. The nucleus consists of the protons. And this nuclear diameter is about 10 to the power minus 13 centimeter, whereas this atomic diameter is 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter. He confirmed this atomic diameter is about 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter or 10 to the power minus 10 meters, whereas the nuclear diameter of the nucleus is 10 to the power minus 13 centimeter or 10 to the power minus 15 meter. So this so small is the nucleus, and this is the hollowness of this. So he says it is an incredible discovery of mine, where I can understand the nucleus can be compared. If the nucleus can be, if you take the hydrogen atom, if you consider the hydrogen atom, the nucleus of the hydrogen atom, if you think it is a cricket ball, then the hollow space around that is about 3 kilometers radius. 3 kilometers radius. So to configure he want to give an example between the hollow space of the atom and the nucleus of the atom. If you think the hydrogen atom as a cricket ball. As a cricket ball. The nucleus of the hydrogen atom is a cricket ball. Then the hollow space is about 3 kilometers radius. 3 kilometer radius. That hollow space can be considered with this. So one can imagine what a hollow space present inside the atom, and that is the extra nuclear part of the atom where the electrons are residing, where the electrons are there inside this hollow space of the atom. So this is the constitution of the nucleus. The nucleus consists of the protons, where the entire mass of the atom is concentrated at the nucleus, is surrounded by a large hollow space all its around, and the electrons are extra nuclear particles. What he concluded here from the experiment, the nucleus consists of the protons, and the entire mass of the atom is concentrated at the nucleus. Why? The protons have the mass, and the electron mass of the electron is negligible. The mass of the electron is 1 by 1837 times the mass of a proton. So if you compare the mass of proton and mass of electron is negligible. Mass of the electron is negligible. Hence, the entire mass of the atom is concentrated at the nucleus of the atom, and the nucleus is positively charged. The nuclear charge is equal to the number of protons present in the atom. If you take the gold foil, if the gold atom has 17 protons and 17 electrons, 79 electrons and 79 protons. So there are 79 protons are placed at a small space of the atom, small gold atom, and there is a hollow space, and he has impregnated the alpha particles. Imagine one alpha particle has 4 units of mass, 2 units of charge, going to an atom of gold where 79 protons are there, and atomic mass, so much of atomic mass is concentrated. Then you can have the mutual repulsion. F is equal to m1 f2 by d square. So that is the force with which these alpha particles are deflected. So this is the way he could explain, and he's a professor of physics. So all the phenomena of chemistry are very nicely explained by the mathematics and the physics. The physics people, those who study physics and teach physics, are genius, and those people, they read physics, mathematics and teach mathematics, are intelligent. So this intelligence and genius, they're the two things, they get alloyed and they describe the whole science. Whole science is described by this mathematics and the physics of it. So this is a physicist, the Rutherford is a physicist, and he described according to the laws of this, and he could explain this. So what he says, the nucleus consists of the protons, is placed at the center of atom, at which entire mass of the atom, is concentrated. The nuclear diameter is about 10 to the power minus 13 centimeter, whereas the atomic diameter is about 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter, which is 1 angstrom unit. So one can very well imagine what is the large hollow space present inside the atom, and the nuclear, the electrons are extra nuclear particles. That means what? What do you mean by that? What he says? He confirmed the probability of finding an electron in the nucleus of an atom is 0. The probability of finding an electron in an atom of the nucleus is 0. So electron is always an extra nuclear particle. So taking this nucleus, composition of the nucleus and configuration of the electron, and with a large hollow space all its around, now he is explained this model of atom, which is called as Rutherford nuclear model of atom. Now we will pass on to what is the propositions or postulations were made by Ernst Rutherford to explain the model of atom, for which he was awarded the Nobel Prize. And now we will come to Rutherford nuclear model of atom. So what he proposed? He proposed that the nucleus is placed at the center of the atom, consisting of the protons. The nucleus is placed at the center of the atom, consists of the protons, where entire mass of the atom is concentrated, and where are the electrons? And there is a large hollow space all around the atom. The nuclear diameter is 10 to the power minus 13 centimeter, and atomic diameter is 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter, which explains us the impact of hollowness. And where are the electrons? The electrons are the particles. So here is the electron. Here is the electron. So how these electrons are? So he proposed that the electrons, the nucleus consists of the protons placed at the center of the atom, where entire mass of atom is concentrated, surrounded by a large hollow space all its around. He says the electrons, the nucleus is a positively charged massive body present at the center of the atom, consisting of the protons, where entire mass of the atom is concentrated, surrounded by a large hollow space all its around. And the electrons are extra nuclear particles. So they are extra nuclear particles. The probability of finding an electron inside the nucleus of an atom tends to 0. Now then what he proposed, the second point he proposed, that how are these electrons? What the electrons does? So he says these electrons, they are moving around the nucleus. They are moving around the nucleus continuously. They are moving around the nucleus continuously in a circular path. He called that as an orbit. Orbit means what? A path A defined, well-defined path is called. Path is always maybe undefined. In the way in which you go, that is called path. But the moment you call orbit, that path is when defined. The path is defined, then that path is called orbit. Children, this is the meaning of the words you should learn. He is using the word orbit, circular orbit. Why circular path? He could have told. Path is undefined. You can come to any place, one place in different paths. But when you come to orbit, it's fixed. The fixed path is called the orbit. It's not different, it's the only one, so that is called the orbit. That is the reason he has found the word orbit. So a student of chemistry should understand the English much better than a student of English to know the science. As a student of physics should understand mathematics much better way than he understands the physics. If he wants to understand the physics, a student of physics should understand the mathematics. And a student of chemistry should understand the meaning of the words in English to do much better in chemistry. And that's the reason I feel always, my children, that the father of all sciences is mathematics and mother of all sciences is English literature. A student who is very well in English and learning English and giving importance to mathematics will be a brilliant student of the science. Brilliant student of science. And I say the grammar is more important. The punctuation, the spelling, the position of the comma, the position of the semicolon, full position of the full stop, they are more important for a student of science than the student of anything they learn. So I say here the nucleus consists of the protons. Then what he says about that? The electrons, what he configured the electrons now. The electrons are moving. The electrons are extra nuclear particles. The electrons are extranuclear particles moving around the nucleus, moving around the nucleus with a very high velocity continuously in circular orbits. In circular orbits means with a constant distance. So this is a constant distance. The electrons are here. This is the electron. This electron is moving. Here is the electron. It is moving. Here is the electron is moving, and it is the circular path. And this circular path is called the orbit. And in this path, the electrons are continuously moving. They are not going to take rest. They are not changing their velocity. The velocity of the electron remains constant while moving in a orbit. While moving in his orbit, in its orbit, the velocity of the electron will remain constant. So he says this. So then what will happen? Then again he imposed a restriction upon the electron. So when any particle undertakes a circular motion around another particle, it will have a outward centrifugal force. It will have outward centrifugal force, the force to go away from the center. The force about to go to away from the center. If you take a stone, tie with a thread and tie to your finger and rotate, so always you will feel a finger, there is a pressure on your finger, because your finger is keeping the thread, the stone moving. Why? The stone is, when moving, wants to go away from the finger, and the thread is pulling the finger pulling the stone towards it, and that force is called centripetal force. If you take this is a circle in which a body is moving, here is another body and is moving. So this body will always wants to go out. It is moving with a velocity v. It is going with a velocity v, and it has mass m. Then it will have a half mv square So mv square, half mv square, it will be having a outward centrifugal force. It will have a outward centrifugal force, the mv square. It will have a kinetic energy is half mv square, and it will have the outward centrifugal force. This is the outward centrifugal force of the object. So this is called centrifugal. This is a centrifugal force. This particle will be having a centrifugal force to go away from the fugal, means away, centri, from the center. So with the force, this particle will be going out. Now what this nucleus doing? It is attracting the electron towards it. So this force is what? Which approaches center. That is called centripetal force. Centripetal force. So the particle, while moving around another particle, will have a tendency to go away from the particle. That is called centrifugal force. And the force with which the particle is attracted toward the center, that is called centripetal force. It is approaching toward the center. And the particle is going. So the electron is negatively charged, is moving around the positively charged nucleus. So this positively charged nucleus will be attracting this electron. So this centripetal force in the atom is called force of electrostatic attraction. This force, centrifugal force, existing with the nucleus and the electron, nucleus and the electron, the nucleus is attracting the electron towards it. The nucleus is attracting the electron towards it, and that is the force of the two electrical charges are attracted. Nucleus is attracting electron, electron is attracting nucleus. So there is a force. That statistical force is called force of electrostatic attraction. That is called the centripetal force. And since the electron is moving with a velocity v and of mass m, it will move with a velocity half mv square. With a force it will want to go, that is called mv square, and that force is called the centrifugal force of the electron. And these two forces, the centrifugal force and the centripetal force, both the force, that centripetal force will be always equal to the centrifugal force. That centrifugal force, then only the particle can move. Otherwise, if the centrifugal force is more, then the particle will go out, and if the centripetal force is less, more, then the particle will fall down. The particle will fall down. When the centripetal force is more, the particle will go out, more than centripetal force. But what is happening in the atom? In the atom, this force of attraction, between, so this electron will be, now the electron is moving around the nucleus in circular orbit. Now circular orbit, the nucleus is extranuclear particle. The electrons are moving around the nucleus, in circular orbits, such that, how they are moving? Such that the outward, such that the outward centrifugal force of electron, outward centrifugal force of electron is just balanced by the force of electrostatic attraction existing between the nucleus and the electrons, between the nucleus and the electrons at every point, of the circular path or circular orbit of the circular orbit. So this at every point, so this is the nucleus at every point, this is a inward force of attraction. This inward force of attraction, this centrifugal force of the electron is always equal to the inward force of attraction. Hence the electron keeps on moving. They are balancing each other, hence the electron. So the electrons keep on moving around the nucleus, continuously, without falling into it. They never fall into the nucleus, and they continuously move around the nucleus without falling into the nucleus. Children, all the discoveries made in science, they are observed from the nature. So the best scientific document can be known as the observation of nature. So what happens in the nature? In the nature we have studied the sun. If you come to the solar system, the sun is placed at the center. The sun is at the center. Here is the sun, and the planets, different planets, they are moving around the sun. They are moving around the planet, around the sun. So this is solar system. In the solar system, the planets are moving around the sun. So here also the electrons are moving around the nucleus. So this nucleus can be comparable to the sun of the solar system, and these electrons can be comparable with the planets. In the solar system, the planets are moving around the sun, and in the atom, the electrons are moving around the nucleus. Hence, these electrons are considered as the planetary electrons. So these electrons are moving into it. So this is comparable. So this is the conformation he made. It is happening in the solar system, so it is happening in my Rutherford nuclear model of atom. The nuclear model of atom is comparable with the solar system. The solar system as the sun, as the nucleus is compared with the sun and the electrons with the planets. So the planets are not going to rest. They are not going to rest. They are moving continuously around the sun. Here also the electrons are continuously moving around the sun. The planets are moving in their orbit, and the electrons are also moving in their orbit. Hence, the electrons are called as planetary electrons. These electrons are called as planetary electrons. So this is the way he proposed a model of atom which was very much accepted at that time, because very convincingly he proposed, very scientifically he confirmed the position of the nucleus, the position of the protons, the position of the electrons, and from the knowledge of the circular motion, he says outward centrifugal force of the electrons due to their circular motion moving in a circular orbit of definite radius, there is an outward centrifugal force which is just balanced by the force of electrostatic attraction existing between the nucleus and the electron. Hence the electrons are continuously moving around the nucleus without falling into it. It is comparable with the solar system. The sun can be, the nucleus is compared with the sun, and the planets are compared with the electrons. Hence the electrons are the planetary electrons. And this model of atom was very vividly accepted by the world of science as a Rutherford nuclear model of atom. And this ended to the discovery of a model of atom. Then came the critical analysis upon the Rutherford model of atom. He was awarded, he got the award for his discovery. Now question comes, then comes the other discoveries are made. So those laws of physics are again applied to the Rutherford model of atom, and objections was raised on Rutherford model of atom. The Bohr was the scientist who objected to this model of atom, and also many this what now from the Maxwell theory. So I am going to now next part of the subject as the objections raised on it was accepted model of atom, but some objections were Rutherford model. Always it happens when one discovery comes, some objections come, and those objections are not the retarding force, they are the accelerating force. Whatever corrections to be made by the scientist will be made on that atom, and that atom will be very again a very fruitful model. So this what are according to classical theory of electrodynamics proposed by Maxwell, what he says, any charged particle while moving another charged particle radiates energy. While moving another charge around another charge radiates energy. So the energy of the particle which is moving will be continuously decreasing. For example, simple example I am giving you, you take a fire and keep on a table. Up and slowly you will find the heat at the temperature of the fire will go on decreasing, and at last it becomes an ash. What happens? It gets radiated. Why? Always the energy flows from higher potential to lower potential. Any charged particle is moving, it has the kinetic energy. Because of its position, it has potential energy. So that particle has two types of energy, potential energy and kinetic energy, and an atmosphere has the lower energy. Hence the radiation, the migration of the transfer of the energy takes place from the higher potential, from the charged particle to our environment. So the energy of the particle will decrease. That objection was raised upon the Rutherford model of atom. So the electron, the electron is negatively charged, is moving continuously with high velocity. Around the nucleus, around the positively charged nucleus, Hence the electron is ought means must. Ought means OUGST. Ought means must. The electron is ought to radiate energy. Ought to radiate energy continuously. Because the electron will have the two energies, potential energy, because the distance and velocity, mass, it has the kinetic energy, so hence its energy will continuously will decrease. So the energy of the electron will decrease. What is energy? E. What is energy? Energy E is force into displacement. Force into displacement. So if you come to the electron, this electron has an outward centrifugal force, and the distance is, this is the distance, the radius is the distance between them. So that is the centrifugal force the electron is having, mv square by r. This electron is moving by what? With a force. That force is what? mv square by r. This outward centrifugal force is what? How much? mv square by r. This force will, this energy will decrease. So this, when the energy is decreasing, who will decrease? The r will decrease. R will decrease this distance. This distance will decrease. This distance will decrease. So hence it will be, the electron will energy continuously. The electron will radiate energy continuously. So the force of electrostatic attraction will be more than outward centrifugal force. Centrifugal force. So the electron will have an angular acceleration towards the center, will have an angular acceleration toward the center, and the radius of the orbit will decrease continuously. So he says the electron is radiating energy. Now this is the atom. This was the atom. Now objection, this is the nucleus, and this is the electron. This is the orbit. The electron is moving. Now this electron is radiating energy continuously. It is radiating energy. Hence its energy will be, this attraction and this was equal. Now this energy is decreasing. Hence what will happen? This will have an angular acceleration toward the center. So the nucleus will pull the electron, so it will lose this path, it will come to another path. Again it will be attracted, it will be attracted more and more, and at last will fall into the nucleus. So this is called, it will have no more move in a circular path, will move in a spiral path of the electron. So this was the objection raised on the Rutherford model of atom. The electron is a charged particle moving with very high velocity continuously around the nucleus, positively charged. Hence the electron ought to radiate energy. Hence the energy of the radiation electron will steadily decrease, and so hence at every point the force of electrostatic attraction will be more than the outward centrifugal force. So the electron will have a angular acceleration toward the center. It will come attracted toward the center and will move a spiral path and plunge into the nucleus. The electron will plunge, means fall. At last it will plunge into the nucleus. But so this is the objection raised. But then what happens? But the electron never falls into the nucleus. The atom is stable. And the electron never falls to the nucleus. So Rutherford model of atom, if correct, then electron has to fall into the nucleus. If the Rutherford model of atom is correct, then the nucleus, the electron has to fall into the nucleus, but electron never falling into the nucleus. So Rutherford model of atom is not wrong, but Rutherford model of atom had to be modified. Rutherford model of atom has to be, it is not wrong. The nucleus is placed at the center. The electrons are moving around the nucleus. Then the Maxwell theory of electromagnetic radiation proposes this objection. Then if this Rutherford model is correct, radiation theory is correct, then the electron has to fall in the nucleus, but electron never falls in the nucleus and atom is stable. So there is something fallacy inside in the Rutherford model of atom, that if Rutherford model of atom is X, then if delta X is added to the Rutherford model of atom, that fallacy if is removed and that correction is added to the atom, then this will become the correct model of atom. So at that time, this was the Maxwell theory, what 1905. But prior to, say, during that time, another theory of radiation came in, that is called Planck's quantum theory, and another theory developed, that is called theory of electromagnetic radiation. Taking this, the classical theory of electrodynamics was corrected, and a new theory came, that is called theory of electromagnetic radiation. So this electromagnetic theory of radiation, a new theory came in, and this theory was taken by Planck, and he proposed a theory called Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation. So that Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation, he proposed certain postulations, and those postulations were taken by Niels Bohr, the Danish scientist. Niels Bohr, the Danish scientist, taking the inspiration of the Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation, he applied those some corrections to the model of atom of Rutherford, and that model again came as a Bohr model of atom. And to know the Bohr model of atom, now we have to read first what is theory of electromagnetic radiation. Then we will read Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation. The objection was raised on Rutherford model of atom by applying the Maxwell theory of radiation. So in between, a new theory was developed, that is called as theory of electromagnetic radiation. And Max Planck, who was awarded the Nobel Prize in the year 1912, 1913 or 1912, is Max Planck. He developed the theory called as Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation. After the discovery of Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation, Niels Bohr, the Danish scientist, adopted these postulations of Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation and corrected the Rutherford model of atom. What are the things to be corrected by the Rutherford model of atom? Then how many paths are there? Is there one path in any, suppose uranium atom is there, then 92 electrons. All the 92 electrons are moving in the same path. That is a quick question. So number of paths are to be corrected. Then what is the defect? Now the orbit is opening, so that has to be corrected. The orbit will not open. Then Bohr, what he did, he is a very intelligent person, and he has imposed some restrictions upon the Rutherford model of atom on the basis of the Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation, proposed a model of atom which became very successful, and that is called Bohr model of atom, but there is not much change, only corrections are made. Children, to understand the Bohr model of atom, we will read next class what is Planck's quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation. Then we will study what is atomic number and discovery of atomic number by Moseley, which is the fundamental property of the atom of an element. Then we will study the Bohr model of atom. So next class we will read all these three and discuss the model of Bohr model of atom. Thank you so much.